idea about the market. Looks like every bounce, right? Sorry, let's just go to pre-market. Every bounce right now in the past 2 weeks just results more sell-off. Today, the pre-market action was up about 1%, and the CPI number higher than expected, right? Going down. I didn't want to trade much because looking at the bounce, very likely is not going to hold, and it ended up didn't hold. Starting around noon, the sell-off started, right, for about 2 hours. Now kind of double bottom on the 50-minute chart, but into the close, we should see more downside momentum, which we have been seeing this pattern in the past about 2 to 3 weeks. Any bounce is a sell-off opportunity, even though the bounce after Powell said the 70 bips is now on the table, right? And then we see a massive rally for a day, and then that rally just got wiped out. And yesterday it started to become very confusing, and that's why I want to reduce trading. Is the Federal Reserve officials, they started to come out and said, well, 75 bips rate hike is still on the table. And after they said that yesterday, right, the market is a huge sell-off, and then the market is so uncertain, and just bounced on some Biden remarks and then pull out into the close, super choppy. Right, today is kind of reverse, right? It bounced first and then started to go down and bounce and down. So that's on the 50-minute, and it's totally difficult to trade, especially on the day trading side, right? Just keep washing you off. Swing trading, I've been using more stock because option has been very, very volatile too, right? Especially if you're using shorter term options, if you have 50% stop loss kind of principle, then those up and down can easily wash you off on both sides very quickly, since the range right now is pretty big. Right, today is up and down, almost 7 points on SPY. But looking at SPY breaking bear flagging, breaking the year low, looks like continue to the downside. I was looking at a 20-year chart, 20-year chart. Sorry, weekly chart.
Taking a look at the volume on the day on the NYSE, coming in at 7.
SPY right now is losing this 100-day EMA support. I highly doubt it will touch 200-day EMA on the weekly, but we will see. Last time in COVID, we did March 2020, we did test the 200-day EMA on the weekly, okay, and even break through that, but that was a super volatile week, right? It break down that week, and then reclaim the 200-day EMA, and then the next week, it down and down, and then push back. And then the third week, below the 200-day EMA, was a huge rally, and then I remember I was being washed out like crazy in that month, and then try to reclaim 200 EMA on weekly, rejected, and the next 2 was huge rally, and then you know what happened after all. But back to those time, Fed started to release a lot of capitals, right? And now Fed is actually taking back those capitals, so we're seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks of volatility downside, especially in the past 3 weeks has been very volatile. But since QQQ has the most component in SPY, the next critical support for QQQ, 308 has already broken. I mentioned the weekly email. QQQ might have room to 260 and 270. I think we're gonna see some short-term bounce, because at that time Apple will be around 130 to 140. The FIDE will be around 142. Sorry, Google will be around 2000. So those are the critical support. Ethereum will probably be around 1500 to 1700. So all those are the buying zone. Google. Let's take a look at FANG. Okay, market has been very brutal, right? Nasdaq down about 2.8%. Tesla the next leg down, breaking all the daily 200-day EMA already. Watch the year low. Okay, this 695. Might see some fight over here. Probably around Friday. The other problem with the downside market is if you look at the weekly options, it's so expensive, right? Like, holy cow. Like SPX expired today in the money is like $30 because everybody's expecting big move, right? So Tesla on the weekly is actually very close to the EMA support around 700. So We might see that fight around 693, 700. Yeah, but we'll probably easily see another 30 points down. We'll probably see some bounce pre-market again. This pajama trader probably will lift the market a little bit. So tomorrow, when hopefully the options are cheaper, we can try to capture that 30, 40 points. We'll have to be careful on the bounce at opening. Just like today, we added the CVNA at opening, right? And then we had that little bounce. And then I didn't stop out, right? This $38 critical support get rejected, and next leg down as expected to the $29 target. The option bar price this week just so screwed up, right? Like even CVNA down so much today, like our option is only up 60-70% because the premium and the implied volatility on the option is so high. That's the other reason I'm using the ARK puts, the SARK, sorry, to short ARK. I just feel like putting 5-6 digit of stock here. You have a last chance of being washed out, and you can still gain the same amount as you make on the options with a smaller size. Yeah, definitely pushing to our target 75. Right now, still bull flagging. If QQQ gonna push down to 260, 270, this SARK should be around 95 to 100. So we'll cover Tesla. Now let's take a look at FANG. Oops. Right, Apple. Rome has been shutting down Apple put. Yeah, huge pullback, down 5%. That's really unusual for Apple. Breaking the 200 EMA on daily as well. It's like we mentioned earlier, probably going to test down to 130 to 140. Right. Since we speak of Apple, we should talk about Taiwan Semi. I'm kind of waiting for 75 to 80 to add it. 75 is the weekly 200 EMA support. Yeah, that will be a great buying opportunity. We should see there if QQQ going down to around 260, 270. So let's come back to Facebook. This guy is actually holding up relatively well, just like Google. Okay, so it's still way above the year low, 166, one above. Above 166. But yeah, continue to pull back with QQQ. Maybe when QQQ go down to 270, yeah, this Facebook is probably gonna test this 160, 170 again. Still holding. Still think this is just 2018 all over again. Right? If you see what happened in 2018, it was super brutal, like right now. Right? SPY tested 200 EMA, and it was very volatile. I have been washing out in swing trading too, and that's why I learned a lesson. Like, don't trade too much, because you go up, you bet, you scope on the upside, you scope on the downside, you swing up or swing down. It's constantly being washed out because the market is just so volatile. When's a good time? When the EMA being tested on the weekly, you're gonna see some huge green bars, especially on SPY and QQQ, right? Like in 2018, I still remember that was a really brutal last week of the year, right? And starting in January 2019, the first few days was really brutal because Apple actually lowered the guidance on January 3rd, the first trading day in 2019. And SPY limit down, Apple down like what, 8% that day. Everybody's like, oh, this market is gonna collapse, financial crisis 2.0, blah blah blah. And then you see how the market rally, and this market actually rally because of the strong economy, like we have been seeing. The job employment rate is so low. The company earning EPS, the S&P EPS continue to rise, even though Fed is dropping SOMA balance at that time. Okay, that is the time we see about 2 months of rally. And right now, the best time to make huge amount of money again on swing trading is waiting for that period of time. And those 2 months, you're going to make a lot of loss back if you have loss right now. Right now, downside is kind of smaller size scoping since the market has been dropping so much. Amazon, Rivian earnings is tonight, so let's see what kind of shit show Rivian will bring up, and we'll have a better idea about how much lower Amazon's going to drop. I still think it's going down to sub 2000. Depends on their guidance, but I see an easy $15 to $16 for Rivian. Yeah, NVIDIA. Still waiting around this 140 level. I know 200-day EMA on weekly is around 120. I don't think we'll go down that much, but we'll see. AMD still love the stock, another strong semiconductor. If you watch the weekly, okay, this is one of the very few semiconductor and tech that weekly start to form some bottom. So that's a good sign, okay? But can it go down to early 80s? Quite possible if QQ is going to push down to 270, which based on the current speed, probably another 2 days will be there. And if we are hit there, 260, 270, we'll probably see a really massive rally coming up. So I'm guessing the rally will come out around the FOMC, which is usually at the end of the May. I don't remember the time on top of my head. But yeah, market can handle bad data, but cannot handle uncertainties. Right now, there's too many uncertainties, so we just need to take those out, okay? So let's take a look at each sector, okay? We take out most of our biotech, but still have a little bit Eli Lilly, etc. But yeah, right now the daily is kind of forming a bottom too. You see some biotech like Merck we mentioned yesterday is actually both flagging, okay? So Airbnb, sorry, just see the charts. Let's do it really quick. Has a nice rally. I hold out my hands, sitting on my butt, like holy shit. No, I'm not gonna chase it. See a nice 112 to 123, 11-point pop. I was like, holy cow. And then yeah, give out again. Again, I'm still waiting for a sub 100. The PE ratio is way too high for this high quality stock. I mean, the revenue growth is amazing, but just the PE value is around 60 is too high. So come back to biotech. Okay, first of all, look at Merck. Daily flagging to the upside. And yeah, a lot of those high quality biotech stocks are actually holding up fine. Lilly right now just kind of range bound, right? UNH, United Healthcare, great earnings. And if this kind of great earnings are holding up, you know the market is going to have next leg down. SPY kind of lingering around day low. Not going to push into shorting at this moment. Yeah, a lot of biotech got hurt really badly, right? Like BIIB, a lot of drama last year. This year just canceling down. One of the pharmaceutical names is doing pretty well is VRTX, okay? But also massive sell off because of the market selling off. But yeah, if this thing go back to sub 200, that's definitely a strong buy. This Illumina we're still holding. High PE, medical equipment, DNA sequencing name. This is actually a buying opportunity. If you look at the 200 weekly chart, right, it's almost at a pre-COVID level. Okay, this guy is gonna dominate the DNA sequencing, and it has been the dominant player in the DNA sequencing. But yeah, high PE just got punished, just like fintech. Right now, oh shit, it's right here, day low. Yeah, second half of each year usually has more FDA approval activities, so we might see more biotech interesting plays coming up. Second half this year. One of the stock I've been looking at, ALLO, right? I mean, a lot of them are oversold, has a good pipeline. This one might be a little too early, mostly pipelines in phase one. One thing really like, I'm still waiting. First of all, TGTX. I still think if their MS drug got approved, holy cow, this thing's at least $20, $30. But yeah, let's wait until the general market sell-off is done first before adding anything. And I know I've been talking about AUPH. This guy is gonna get acquired. I don't know when, second half this year maybe. Good to have some stocks. Right now it's pulling back together with the market and the earnings. Yeah, this is an easy $20 acquisition. But yeah, let's just wait until the market destroy all the prices first, and then we start getting. I need to jump in. Okay, right now. So material, China still locked down, but if you look at the dry bulk shipping market, guys, the future in the June price is actually at all-time high right now. So that is telling us something here. I know the China April trade data coming out on Monday night was Monday early morning was horrible, and that's why all the materials got heavy sell off, right? I'm glad we take off all the profits. New core, right? We take it out 170, right? Steel now down about 126. Probably see more downside together with the general market on material, but I think we're going to see really strong bounce the second half this year in this sector, since the worldwide economy seems to be doing fine right now, slowing down but not enter into the recession, which is GDP growth worldwide below 2%. Still don't see that's the case. But again, if Russia just decide to have a war with NATO, if Finland just say tonight like, yeah, we're going to join NATO, that's a different story. But yeah, that's material name. Okay. Energy, nice pop. A little hesitated to chase it today. Let's see market pull back, and energy quickly pull back too. If we look at the 50-minute chart, right, almost at, well, actually on day low already. Very crazy. And the other reason I don't quite like the energy is because crude oil is in the range bound. So even though a lot of the energy sector, their stock provided good dividends, share buyback, but when the energy started, crude oil started to lose the $100 per barrel ground, we're gonna see a pretty heavy pullback on this sector. And the daily chart is just very ugly, range bound too. Just make it really hard to swing. Rather just don't touch it, right? Like come back to SARK. Isn't this chart has smooth their technical chart to long and hold, right? Industrial and financial, not to mention, affected by supply chain, market down, just crap. Right? If you look at Caterpillar, down, until the, touching this 200 EMA, right? BA very heavy. Today has a nice pop on the delivery news, but I was like, how much can it hold, right? Very disappointed with the stock. I'm still holding. It's deep red, but come on. But the good news is there's 787 Dreamliners probably really going to start to go back to delivery in the second half this year. So in the long-term investment perspective, we're probably really going to see a big bounce for Boeing at some point. And China hasn't resumed the 737 MAX, I think. I might be wrong. But yeah, probably going to happen the second half next year, this year. So probably see some catalysts coming out on Boeing. Yeah, right now bear flagging, selling out together with the market. And a lot of industrial just down and down. All the equipment rentals, because it's agriculture activities are slowing down too. So yeah, they all get hit. And that is why I've been saying the food prices are actually going up, because if you see all their earnings, they're projecting lower revenue guidance, last agriculture, machine rental, etc. Together with the data, it is showing us, holy shit, watch this, wheat might be breaking out. Yeah, let's wait until this 11.33 can hold on daily. I don't want to get caught. And yeah, definitely wheat under plant this year. Ukraine cannot import wheat anymore. The huge supply and demand imbalance coming up. Keep an eye on it. Okay, financials down 1%, not as happy as tech, but bear flagging too. So watch a lot of if you look at Goldman and many other bigger financial names, they start to form a bottom here. Okay, a lot of fights around Goldman, for example, around the 300. Yesterday actually a year low, but quickly bounced back, still defending this 300. So that's on the financial. The only one we're swinging CVNA in the money weekly vertical debit spread. The goals to have it max out, kind of like income generation type of trade. But betting on the downside. But downside market is always very volatile, so I'm not using a very big size and I'm not putting in an income generation because when the market decides to bounce because of XYZ headlines or technical algo driven bounce, it's going to be a very volatile move. So I just don't want to throw like a couple thousand contract on those in this volatile market in the income generation kind of trading strategy. Zinc, long-term investment, I'm bidding on $54. Market is now close. Any dip right now is still a buy. Okay, expecting when China reopens. Yeah, this thing is gonna be a huge move. Actually, like I mentioned, the the dry bulk shipping future in June right now is at all-time high, and that's why all this dry bulk shipping has been holding up so well. Okay, there has just been a very brutal range bound, right? This SHIP since break out the last range above $1 has been range bound between 1.35 and $1. That's a $35 range bounce. Very volatile. Okay, earning coming out next week. Same thing with SBLK, right? Huge range bound. But yeah, once China reopens, the spot rate of the dry bulk shipping market started to break out. Yeah, we're gonna see this breakout of this range 35 heading to our next target around $40. Yep, so it has been holding. This INSW holding out. I mentioned the weekly email on the Monday when it dropped to around $20. Actually a good buying opportunity. Kind of missed it. It's holding out. One of the few names that's green today on this ugly market. And there's a reason behind it, okay? Airline traffic is improving, coming back, right? I still think this is a better name than airline itself, right? While airline has been down very brutally, this tanker name, this sector is actually holding up, while airlines are all bear flagging. This container shipping rental GSL kind of handling the low, waiting for the general market sell off to finish before adding this. Maybe we can get in the sub 20 with 20% dividend. That's crazy. And they just increased their dividends and share buyback, so we might not see sub 20. I don't know, or dividends coming up. Maybe after the X dividend we'll see that. Well, not sure yet. But yeah, their share buyback around $20 should provide some support. So any dip below 19 is a strong buy here. I might swing the long term, but the risk of this kind of value stock is just it might not ever push stock back to its reasonable fair market value. So yeah, that's kind of like a general overview on some chart. Let's take a look on the heat map real quick. Right, tech don't have to say, right? Ugly. Consumer defense PN has earning 5% pop. A lot of them are down, right? Even the solid earning McDonald's have a slightly downtrend, right? Coca-Cola, a lot of people are calling out $100 per share by the end of this year. We'll see. I mean, right now it's pulling back because of the market. Costco, very brutal. I'm still waiting. Down. Walmart pulling back on their great earnings as well. We've been talking about as IBM, okay? When the traditional tech has been down, usually this traditional tech IBM is doing better than those fancy new fan. Visa, great earnings, not holding out 200. I'm still watching. Probably it has been down below 200. If tech is going down to 60 to 70, we're probably looking at Visa around 170, 180. That might be the time to add. Yeah, talk about energy, talk about materials. The other thing we want to take a really quick at worldwide is we actually see some Brazil names start to hold out. That's very interesting, okay? But still on the daily downtrend. I'm not adding to anything right now. And it's totally imaging what happened in China at the moment. And China over the week, overnight is actually kind of mixed results. But US definitely have more regulatory news on China, saying that there might be more names stock that will require more regulatory requirements. And yeah, on top of that news, Baba just have a really quick pullback, about 5% that day. I think it's Tuesday or something. So yeah, definitely a shit show over here. Neo is something that I'm looking to add at one point. We take it off like what, $25. Now it's at $12. Okay, 12. Yeah, maybe it'll go down to $9. That might be a great time to add. Yeah, SE not touching it. The earnings and revenue guidance is like not coming back. Watch the Japan market, guys. I've been talking about this on the weekly email like 3 weeks ago. Japanese yen versus US dollar continue to go up. Okay, Japanese yen continue to tank. Japan market is going up at some point. And will probably outperform the US market. So definitely something to keep watching. Yeah, let's take a look at FlowAlgo before we wrap up, guys. Oh, before talk about, since we talk about foreign exchange, still watching this US dollar bullish consolidation. Today, trying to break out again, so maybe we can start a long. Probably can do 28 call into the end of this year. Our target is at 30. If they move pretty slowly, weekly is also bull flagging as well, so keep an eye on it. Last and most, FlowAlgo. Oops. Yep. So we're seeing a lot of QQQ calls week, especially on the bounce in the opening, but quickly got wiped out as you see. SPY, I was still about 30 million put sweep. In total, that is telling us people are hedging, betting on more downside, so still not adding more stock. We started to see some call sweep, mostly happen at the market opening today. Okay, but then you start to see Apple, ILMN, pretty big put sweep. That is telling us, yeah, probably next leg down. Let's see if there's anything interesting here. Solar, Rivian earnings, we'll have to see. Some people are started betting on Taiwan Semi, longer dated call. That makes sense. Yeah, we have been seeing some call sweep, like betting on some summer bounce, like we have been talking about. But yeah, for me, if I want to add some Taiwan Semi, I will definitely add into the end of this year or early January 2023 because that is a bullish seasonality. But that depends on the Apple product cycle, right? And Apple production are all in China, so China cannot be locked down during the iPhone production cycle starting around. You'll see the order to Taiwan Semi around June, July, but the production cycle usually starting around August or September for Apple. But maybe Apple will start early this year because of the risks that they have been seeing. Yeah, most of the call sweeps are below 1 million. I usually treat it as not that interesting to see. Solar name got beaten like very hard as well, so this sector will come back at one point. This is a utility NE. We'll take a look. A lot of call sweep until the end of this year. Probably some institute, yeah. They must have something. And yeah, let's take a look at the dark pool real quick. A lot of dark pool actually the data will come in after the market close, so have to keep that in mind. SPY, not really a lot of sale today, but maybe more data will come in later. Only 13 orders. Usually I want to see 20 orders to see a continued downside momentum. But yeah, you see a lot of sales around 399.46. Okay. QQQ 8 orders, not too heavy. That's probably telling us that downside momentum might start to slow down again tomorrow. Let's see. A lot of sale at 297.6. Okay, let's see what it means. QQQ, yeah, makes sense, right? 297.6 selling up. That's right around here. Right, SPY a lot of sell at 399. That's right around, right around here. Yesterday close. Dark pool data a lot of times are delayed, so yeah, probably a lot of institutes sell SPY on dark pool at yesterday market close. We'll probably see more data coming out in that case. Yeah, before we go, let's take a look at NEE utility. What is going on? A lot of utility then today are green though. Right, small green on NEE started forming some bottom. Speaking of NEE, let's take a look at PG&E. This thing is green too. Yeah, ugly chart. I mean, if we want to do utility, I would rather do the biggest one, NEE. Yeah, we'll see how the market goes, guys, tomorrow. Yeah, one more day close that year low. Does not look good, guys. Probably gonna see the next leg down. But again, probably gonna be very volatile and choppy if you want to day trade tomorrow. Again, still the trend, any bounce, hitting some 15-minute, hourly, daily resistance, guarantee next leg down unless there's headline change. Okay, yeah, we'll watch some earnings offline. And yeah, thanks for joining, guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning. We might still reduce trading tomorrow if the market is still like this crap, but holding those SARK, SQQQ at the time being. And yeah, that's it. Any question, feel free to reach out on Discord. And yeah, I post some numbers for my account. Hopefully that can make you feel better or worse. I don't know. My intention is to make you feel better, but anyway, yep. See you guys.